go ahead and explain what a factor is, because that's the one I'm going to start with. Factors have to do with multiplication. So if you can remember that, you'll have a little bit of an easier time. Factors are with multiplication. And what a factor is it's basically just a number or a group of numbers that can be multiplied to equal a product. Okay, so just numbers that can be multiplied to equal a bigger number. So let's say my number that I'm going to start with is 36. I want to know all the factors of 36. So the first step is I'm just going to kind of off to the side, I'm just going to think of all the facts, math facts that I can that will equal 36. Now a good trick to do here is what I told you guys earlier is I start with 1 in my head and I say, okay, does 1 times anything equal 36? Yeah, 1 times 36. So I write that one down. And then I say, does 2 times anything equal 36? Well, I know yes because 36 is even. So I just counted on my fingers real fast. Okay, 2 times 18 equals 36. Does 3 times anything equal 36? Yeah, 3 times 12. How about 4 times anything? No. 5 times anything? No. Does 6 times anything equal 36? Oh yeah, 6 times 6. How about 7? No. 8? No. 9? Oh, see, when I go up I realized I forgot a math fact. 4 times 9 equals 36. That's why it's helpful to go through in your head and count through all the numbers, just to make sure that you didn't forget any. That's why I told you that trick. And 10 times anything? No. So I think I'm probably good here. So now, once I have this written down, I can go ahead and write the factors out in order from smallest to largest. Okay? Using all these numbers right here, these 12 numbers, or 10 numbers, I'm going to write out all the factors. Okay? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, which I have 6 times 6, but remember like I told you earlier, since we're just listing the factors, I don't need to write it twice. I can just write it once, that's fine. And then 9, 12, 18, 36. And I can do, when I'm done with this, and I have them all written out, I can do what I like to call the rainbow check, which is what I showed you guys earlier. And all you do is you draw a little rainbow, which I'm going to use actual rainbow colors just because I can, because I have all the markers. But you can just use your pencil when you're doing this. It's okay. It's the same thing. I'm going to start with the number on the very left, and I'm going to draw a little arch, a little rainbow, over to the number on the very right. 1 times 36. Does that equal 36? If the answer is yes, then I'm good so far. I move to the next one. 2 times 18. Does that equal 36? Okay, so far so good. How about 3 times 12? Does that equal 36? Yeah, it does. How about 4 times 9? Does that equal 36? Yeah, that does, so I'm good so far. And then what about 6 times 6? Does that equal 36? And it does. So I know that my answers check out. Now, the part that I want to see on your homework, the part that you need to make sure that you write down, is not this over here, not all the little math facts. You need to write that to check yourself, to make sure that you got them all. But what I want to see is that you can list the factors, so that you can write them out like this, in order, from smallest to greatest, separated by commas. Just to say, here's the list of factors. These are all the numbers that can be multiplied to equal 36. Okay, to equal the product. And that's what a factor is. Now, let's go ahead and move on to multiples and talk about what those are. Give me a second while I erase all this and get kind of a new thing set up here. So let's talk about the definition of a multiple. And I will give you a little hint. Just as factors have to do with multiplication, a multiple has to do with division. Now, they make that really confusing because it would make much more sense if multiples were multiplication, but they're not. It's kind of backwards. So you just have to remember that it's the opposite. Okay? Multiples have to do with division. And what a multiple is the number that a smaller number can be divided divided by evenly. So the bigger number that a smaller number can be evenly divided by. Now, that's kind of a confusing way just to say this. Let's say I want to know the multiples of 4. Okay, so 4 is the number that I'm starting with here. Now, what I want to know is what numbers can I divide by 4 that will come out evenly. Okay, so what are the multiples of 4? What numbers can I divide by 4 so that they will come out evenly? So here's the trick for how you do this. There's a million multiples to 4. Because I can start with 4. 4 divided by 4 is 1. That's even. 8 divided by 4 is 2. And I could keep going for infinity. Because there's tons of numbers. More than I can even count. I don't even know how many there are. So what I'm going to do is I just want you to write the first 5 multiples of a number. So I want to know the first 5 multiples of 4. And here's the trick, is that the first multiple of a number is always itself. So the first multiple of 4 is going to be 4. And then to find the next 4, all you have to do is skip count by 4. So 4, 8, 12, 16, 20. There's the first 5 multiples of 4. And here's how I know that they're multiples of 4. Okay? Because 4 divided by 4 is 1, so that's even. 8 divided by 4 is 2, so that comes out evenly. 12 divided by 4 is 3, so that comes out evenly. 16 divided by 4 is 4. 20 divided by 4 is 5. So here's how I got that. All I did was this. 4 times 1, 4 times 2, 4 times 3, 4 times 4, 4 times 5. If I multiply whatever my number is here by 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, that'll give me the first 5 multiples of that number. So you can choose which way makes more sense to you. Do you want to just multiply your number out by 1 through 5, and that will give you the answers? Those are your multiples. Because see, look, they're going to be the same numbers. 4 times 1 is 4, 4 times 2 is 8, 4 times 3 is 12, 4 times 4 is 16, and 4 times 5 is 20. They're the exact same numbers. I just figured it out 2 different ways. And you can choose. Do you want to just multiply by 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 with your number to get your multiples? Or do you want to just start with what you already have? Because you know any number is going to be a multiple of itself. Everything divided by itself equals 1. We learned that. Start with itself and then skip count to find the rest. So you can kind of choose. But that's basically a rundown of factors and multiples. So hopefully that makes more sense to you now after you've watched this and you can do your homework successfully.